The Narcissist Chronicles, a tale of charm, control, and chaos. Welcome, my dear, to the world's most elaborate magic show, an astonishing spectacle where illusion, deception, and ego collide in a dazzling display of human folly. Today, we're going to dissect the narcissists, the charming vampires of the social world, minus the fangs, but with a sparkling smile that could convince you to hand over your last dollar, your secrets, and perhaps your sanity. You know the type, the ones who casually stroll into your life, radiating more confidence than a Hollywood actor on an opening night, oozing charm like it's their job, and spoiler alert for them, it kind of is. The beginning, the siren song of the narcissist. Let's start at the very beginning, because every grand tragedy has a humble, often hilarious origin story. Narcissists are born, not made, like a rare, cursed species that emerges from the swamp of human vanity. They're the glittering peacocks of the animal kingdom, strutting around with feathers so bright and eyes so fixed on their own reflection that they forget the world outside is just a dull backdrop for their self-adoration. They appear in every corner of life, at school, at work, in your friend circle, even in your family. No place is safe from their relentless quest for admiration. So, how do they do it? How do these master manipulators pull you into their orbits, spinning you faster and faster until you're dizzy, disoriented, and wondering why you suddenly feel like a puppet with invisible strings? Grab a seat, because this ride is both hilarious in its cruelty and terrifying in its precision. In childhood, they're the kids who get the trophy for simply showing up, who are told they're special before they even understand what that means. Their parents, either out of guilt, ignorance, or a twisted desire to see their own reflection in their child, feed into this delusion. "You're a star," they whisper, as if the kid's worth depends solely on how brightly they shine in someone else's eyes. And so, the seed of narcissism is planted. Manipulators are everywhere, cloaked in charm, but hiding their real agenda. If you've ever been caught in their web, hit that like button, subscribe for more dark psychology insights, and share your story below. Together, we can uncover their tricks and protect ourselves. An insatiable hunger for validation, coupled with a profound inability to accept criticism or even the idea that they might be wrong. Fast forward to adolescence, where the narcissist begins to craft their persona like a master sculptor shaping marble. They can be anyone: the overly charismatic coworker who's way too interested in your personal life, the best friend who always forgets their birthday but remembers yours like the Bible, the parent whose smile almost convinces you they're not the emotional black hole you've come to know, or even that slick professional who's just a little too helpful. They're everywhere: school, work, home, family dinners, Zoom calls, you name it. They're like cockroaches, ubiquitous, resilient, impossible to get rid of, and always lurking in the shadows of human interactions. They're the class president, the star athlete, the teacher, the manager or supervisor, the colleague, the one whose ego is inflated like a balloon ready to burst. They thrive on attention, on being the center of every conversation, every selfie, every Instagram story, everything. They're the ultimate performance artists, putting on a show so convincing that even their closest friends start to wonder if the narcissist is actually a different species, one that feeds on admiration and dignity. The hook, how they lure you in. Now, let's talk about how narcissists reel you in, because, make no mistake, they're master fishermen. They cast their shiny, glittering bait with precision, knowing exactly what will make your heart race and your defenses drop. It's a predator's game, and they're the most skilled hunters in the jungle of human emotions. They begin with love bombing, a term that sounds like a sweet dessert, but is actually a toxic cocktail. Imagine a puppy that's been starved for affection, suddenly showered with endless cuddles, kisses, and praise. That's the narcissist's opening move. They'll flood you with compliments so excessive, so over the top, that you're left wondering if you've just stumbled into a fan club of your own existence. You're incredible. You're destined for greatness. No one has ever understood me like you do. These are the honeyed words that make your defenses melt faster than ice cream in a heat wave. They want you to believe you've found your soulmate, your twin flame, your reason for existing. They charm you like a snake charmer hypnotizing a cobra. Except instead of a deadly serpent, they're charming your fragile ego, making you believe you're the most extraordinary person on the planet. It's a seductive dance. One part adoration, one part manipulation. At work, this might look like the guy who suddenly becomes your mentor, showering you with praise. You're the most talented person I've met this quarter, at least today. At school, that dazzling friend who fawns over you with an intensity usually reserved for puppy videos. During this phase, they're not really interested in you. They're interested in using you. You're the mirror they hold up to their own reflection, a trophy to be displayed, a pawn to be played, but they make it seem like they're the ones doing the loving, the caring, the saving you from your miserable, unworthy self. They're the emotional con artists, the condescending princes and princesses of the human circus. They are maestros of timing. They don't just drop a compliment, they hit you right when your confidence is taking a coffee break. They see your vulnerabilities like a chameleon scouts the environment, and then tailor their performance accordingly. Suddenly, you're the protagonist in their carefully scripted one-act play titled, "You Are the Chosen One." The relationship, the illusion of connection. Once they've hooked you, they begin the real show. They introduce the appetizer, the slow, sinister manipulation. Narcissistic manipulation is an art form, served up on a silver platter with a garnish of confusion and a side of guilt. Think of it as a psychological game of Jenga, where every word, every gesture is carefully calculated to destabilize your sense of reality. They'll love bomb you again and again, like a junkie feeding their addiction, until you're so high on their praise that you're willing to overlook the red flags waving in the wind. In the early days, they're the perfect partner, friend, or family member. They're the ones who listen intently, nodding along, making you feel seen and heard. But it's all an act. Behind the curtain, they're carefully crafting a narrative, your narrative, that they control. They'll flatter you one moment and criticize you the next, like a roller coaster designed to keep you clinging for dear life. It's subtle, it's surgical, and it usually starts with the classic gaslighting, an elegant term for emotional abuse that turns your reality into a playground of confusion. It's like being trapped in a funhouse where the mirrors lie, where your overreacting means you're right, but I'll make you doubt it. And that never happened means I've just erased your memory and you'll thank me later. Suddenly, you question your reality, your sanity, and whether your Wi-Fi is just messing with you. That feeling? It's their version of psychological origami, folding your certainty into a neat little paper crane they get to squish whenever they want. They want you to doubt your perceptions, your feelings, your very sanity. Because if you doubt yourself enough, you become a pliable puppet dancing to their tune. And the best part? They're experts at turning the tables. If you confront them, they'll act wounded as if you've just punched a puppy. They'll cry crocodile tears and accuse you of causing the chaos, making you feel guilty for calling out their behavior. How could you say that? They whimper, as if they're the victim in a tragic play. A role they cast for themselves because, let's face it, narcissists see themselves as the center of the universe. Then there's the dreaded silent treatment, which they wield like a weapon forged in the fires of teenage melodrama. Gone are the days of civilized disagreement. Instead, you get the audio equivalent of a black hole. No words, just the vacuum of affection and communication. You're left begging, groveling, even rewiring your brain to decipher what nothing means when it comes from them. The manipulation, the master class in mind games. Now, let's get deeper into their dark toolkit. Manipulation is their art form, and their Picasso, Da Vinci, and Houdini all rolled into one. They're the illusionists who can make your confidence disappear faster than a magician pulling a rabbit out of an empty hat. They love to play the victim. Oh, how they adore being the misunderstood, wronged soul. They'll whine, complain, and dramatize their suffering, ensuring everyone around them sees them as the real tragedy. Meanwhile, they're the villains in your story, the puppeteers pulling every string to keep you tangled in their web. Gaslighting, it's their signature move. They'll deny, distort, and dismiss your reality until you're questioning your own memory. That didn't happen, they say with a straight face, as if they're the only ones who hold the truth. Except that truth is just their version of reality, a carefully curated lie designed to keep you disoriented and dependent. They're masters of projection, accusing you of the very flaws they possess. You're insecure, they sneer, while secretly obsessing over your every flaw. You're jealous, they say, all the while obsessively checking your phone, spying, and plotting your downfall. It's a twisted game of psychological chess, except the king and queen are both pawns, and the game is played with your mind. They love to isolate, because a lonely, dependent victim is a controllable victim. They whisper lies about your friends, your family, everyone who might challenge their narrative. They make you believe that the world is a hostile place, full of enemies lurking in every corner, waiting to pounce. And so you cling tighter, because in your mind, they're the only safe harbor. Even if that harbor is sinking ship, the aftermath, the unmasking, and the great reveal. Now, let's fast forward to the inevitable moment. After the honeymoon comes the fallout, when the mask slips and the truth is revealed. Because narcissists are like those fireworks that explode spectacularly, only to leave behind a trail of smoke, debris, and disillusionment. When you finally see them for what they are, no longer enchanted by their charm, you realize you've been duped, played, and used as a pawn in their grand game of ego. You unmask them, and suddenly the illusion shatters like glass. The dazzling veneer of charm and confidence is replaced by the cold, ugly reality. A fragile, damaged ego desperately clinging to control. A person so insecure that they need to manipulate others to feel alive. And what do you find underneath? A person who is fundamentally afraid. Afraid of rejection, of insignificance, of facing their own emptiness. They're the ghost in their own haunted house, wandering around trying to scare everyone else away so they don't have to confront the fact that they're hollow inside. The sad comedy of it all is that narcissists often double down on their delusions. They refuse to admit defeat, to accept that the mask is cracked. Instead, they double their efforts to manipulate, to gaslight, to play the victim. Because admitting fault would be like admitting they're a house of cards on the verge of collapse. The ubiquity. Narcissists everywhere. And here's the cruel irony. Narcissists aren't just confined to the dark corners of romantic relationships or family dramas. No, they're everywhere. At school, at work, in your friend circle, even in your own family. They're the co-worker who takes credit for your ideas and then acts surprised when you call them out. They're the friend who always needs to be the center of attention, the one who drains your energy like a black hole of drama. They're the family member who makes everything about themselves, no matter how tragic or mundane. They're the teachers who inflate their own ego at the expense of students' confidence. The bosses who micromanage and belittle, all to feel superior. The friends who pretend to care but secretly compete, judge, and undermine. The family members who manipulate holidays and family gatherings into stages for their own ego needs. In every corner of life, narcissists are lurking, waiting for their next victim, just like cockroaches, resilient and impossible to eradicate. They thrive on chaos, on control, on the illusion that they're invincible. And the more you try to expose them, the more they double down because their fragile egos depend on their ability to fool you. Every day, manipulators walk among us, hiding their true intentions behind a charming smile. If you've ever been fooled or caught in their trap, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your story could help others see through the illusion before it's too late. The final curtain. When they're unmasked. When you finally see through the facade, the narcissist's true nature is like a rotten fruit, foul-smelling, decayed, and best avoided. But the damage they leave behind can linger like a toxic cloud. Trust shattered, confidence eroded, and boundaries broken. These are their legacies. They'll spin their web tighter, trying to pull you back into their trap. They'll apologize with crocodile tears, promise to change, and then repeat the cycle. Because narcissists don't change. They're the same broken record, the same sad clown with a mask of grandeur that's cracked and fallen apart. And here's the irony. The narcissist's greatest fear isn't being exposed. It's being ignored. Because without an audience, without admiration, they are nothing. A hollow shell of ego, desperately craving validation like a junkie needs their next hit. The takeaway, the dark comedy of humanity. So, what's the moral of this twisted tale? It's simple. Narcissists are everywhere. They're the glittering, charming spiders spinning their webs in every corner of human interaction. They're the wolves in sheep's clothing, the magicians of deception, the puppeteers of your mind. They'll charm you, love bomb you, manipulate you, gaslight you, and then discard you like last season's fashion, only to come back later, pretending to be your best friend, your lover, your family, your boss. And the irony? It's that most victims don't realize they're under the spell until it's too late. They're the frogs in boiling water, slowly cooked by the narcissist's manipulations until they're too exhausted to jump out. The punchline? The narcissist's ultimate trick is convincing you that they're the hero of your story, when in fact, they're the villain in disguise, an emotional predator, a master illusionist, a clown in a court of chaos. And so, my sweetie, beware. Because narcissists are not just characters in a tragic story. They are the tragic story itself. They're everywhere, in every human institution, waiting patiently for the next unsuspecting victim. They're the dark humor in the comedy of human vulnerability, the clown that wears a crown of thorns, the magician who makes your self-esteem disappear with a flick of their ego. And if you ever find yourself caught in their web, remember, the best way to survive is to see them for what they truly are. Mirages in the desert of human connection, illusions designed to keep you lost, desperate, and drained. Thank you for watching, and good luck out there, my dear. The narcissists are watching, and they're never far away.